welcome at the webinar, How to Worry Less and Achieve More. And I would like to share with you my 8 simple steps to get from confusion to clarity and action. I see that some more people are joining, so just put yourself on mute. If you want to write where you are based, you can write it in the chat. And we are starting the webinar. So let me share what we will cover today, this evening. So first thing, what stops you from being unstoppable? Second thing is how to support yourself to make better decisions, take better actions and achieve more. And the last thing, the most important thing is the 8-step process, which can take you from confusion to clarity. And I would like to make it very practical. So I hope you have a piece of paper, you have a pen, and you have something in mind, a kind of problem or challenge you are facing at the moment. So we will go through it. And if you are not on mute, I will just ask you to mute yourself because I hear some noises. Yeah, great, okay. And at the end of the webinar, I would also like to share with you a group program that I'm starting in June. So that will be a bit the structure. And so before I start, something about me, who I am. I am a change manager, change management consultant, and I am also a professional coach. I support leaders, business owners, and professionals to get things under control and find more time and energy for what they truly want to accomplish. And somehow maybe you're asking yourself, why should you listen to me? Why should you listen to Lenka? And so I would like to share with you my story, how I came to this process, to what I'm doing at the moment. And the story goes a bit further down the lane. So when I'm 6 years old, I come back from school all excited about my first homework. Oh, and if you're not muted, can you just mute yourself? Because I can hear some voices. And so I come back from school all excited about this first homework. It's drawing circles. And the teacher says, draw apples. So I come back home, I'm so excited, and I start drawing apples. And then when I show it to my mom, she's like, well, these are not circles, do it again. And so I keep drawing, and I have to redo it like 5 times until she's happy with the result, or maybe she sees I'm super upset and angry. And basically from that, since that, I get a bit anxious about doing new things and doing them in the right way. So the way how I cope with it, either I worry and I procrastinate, or I just jump into the cold water without too much thinking. And then when I'm swimming, I realize that I can't swim that well, and it's way harder than I thought, and I feel a lot of pressure. So this little story actually made me change careers many times. Thanks to that, I ended up in B2B sales, which went quite bad until it went really good. And I also co-founded a tech startup. And at one moment, one day, I'm sitting at home and my corporate career is over, my tech startup career is over, it fell apart. And in back of my mind, I'm thinking maybe I should have thought it through. But another voice inside of me saying, well, don't worry, just don't give up. And so I'm working on my website, on my new website, writing an article, and suddenly I feel there's something wrong. I can't concentrate, I can't focus, my brain is not taking it. And I'm really pushing myself, I'm putting myself under a lot of pressure until I just give up and I close the computer and I know I'm done. I will never make it. I think it's time to give up. And so I'm looking outside the window, thinking what to do. And as I'm just looking outside the window, I get this realization. Why am I putting myself so much under pressure? I have all the freedom. I can do whatever I want. Yes, I was unemployed at that time. So I decided just not to do anything that feels like an obligation, and just to do things I enjoy. And I was going meditations, walk, just enjoying my time with the family, trying to get back the energy I lost with all the changes I did. And one day, after a couple of weeks, I just take a walk outside. It's a beautiful day, beautiful sunset. And at that moment, I suddenly feel again the fire inside of me. And I finally get the point. I get the point that the freedom is not outside. And I will never find my freedom and happiness when changing jobs or looking for a perfect company, perfect business partners. The freedom is inside of me, and it's my responsibility to take care of my freedom and happiness. And so since then, I started taking more about my emotional and mental well-being. I put in place structure that really motivated me and was more aligned to who I was. And I also created this self-management process realizer that I would like to share with you today. And this helps me to realign every time when I feel a bit stuck and confused, and find the right actions and move forward. So that's a bit about me. And the question, so let's dive more a bit in the content. And the questions I have been asking myself all the time was, how come it is so easy to achieve things in some cases? And how come it is sometimes so difficult? And so I would like to ask you, can you think about it yourself? When is it difficult to do things or to achieve things, not to worry? And when it is easy to just go for it, achieve different things? And go in the chat and share. When is it difficult to achieve things? Or when is it easy? I would really like to hear from you. Or you can even unmute yourself and speak, whatever feels comfortable. But I'm looking in the chat. When is it easy to achieve things? When is it difficult for you? Okay, so Juan Martin is saying easy when you are positive-minded. That's true. It's difficult when studying, a difficult, yeah, when it's boring. Okay, and it's easier when it's interesting, from Tim. It's difficult when it's really something that is important for me. Mm-hmm. Easy when I choose it by myself, have my purpose, absolutely, yes. Easy when you feel in the mood for doing something, difficult when you feel obliged to do something by a certain deadline, even if you feel you need more time. Yeah, easy when we have a positive and supportive group. Easy when I see it as a part of a bigger mission. Difficult if you're tired, yes, of course. Difficult when you're not sure about what it is you want or need to, okay, so a bit, yeah, of confusion. Yeah, it's easy when I make a plan and follow it, absolutely, yes. It's difficult when I'm put under pressure and there is expectations by others, absolutely, yes. When I'm not physically feeling well, yeah, it's difficult. When you're not aligned with yourself, yeah, it's difficult. Easy when I do something that is aligned with my values and with the goals. Okay, difficult when you don't get feedback on whether you're making progress, absolutely. Okay, not under pressure, okay. Confident, easy when you're confident in the outcome, difficult when you push yourself too hard. difficult when I have the feeling that I'm not allowed to fail. Wow, good. And we can finish. So now you know everything. When it's easy and when it's difficult. So yeah, absolutely. It's easier when we are in a good state of mind, when we have a purpose, when we see the progress, and everybody is different and needs different things. So I believe, actually, I believe that you are actually unstoppable. Everybody is unstoppable because you have plenty of ideas what to do, how to solve your problems. You get energized by taking actions. You are an action taker. And you have the curiosity and passion to learn. So you're open to new things. And you want to make a difference. You have a purpose. But there is a little problem. The biggest problem is that the human brain has its challenges. And so the more we go, the more you go outside of your comfort zone and expertise, the more your brain is challenged. And when I speak about challenges, I will cover them a bit more later, but I see 4 main challenges, which is coping with complexity, uncertainty, how emotions impact the brain, and habits. And so when you're going outside of your comfort zone and when you are doing new things and your brain is challenged, sometimes it feels like you might not be able to do certain stuff. And so you might lose confidence and drive to pursue new opportunities. And obviously, every brain is different. We are wired differently. Some people worry more, some people worry less, some people have better strategic minds. So everybody is wired differently. But the opportunity I see is that if we embrace the challenges of our brain, and if we embrace who we are and what might stop us from pursuing our goals, and if we support the brain to perform at its best so that we can perform at its best, at our best, we can achieve more. And so I would like to share now the 4 challenges of the human brain and how I believe it impacts our behavior. And then I will ask you, what is your own challenge or the biggest challenge out of those 4 challenges? So first one is complexity. So our brain processes all information in a serial manner. So what it means is that you cannot memorize, understand, search for solutions, get creative, decide what to do at the same time. It's just too complex. And that's why in some cases or for some problems, we just get stuck in this vicious circle of different ideas, solutions, and we cannot get out of it. So for me, I believe that the important is to deal with our problems and our challenges like a project. So break the process, write it down, help your brain to focus on a specific process at once. So that's one challenge. Second challenge is uncertainty. So yeah, human brain hates uncertainty. And the way how it copes with uncertainty, it creates scenarios of the future. So creates different outcomes. And somehow it looks a bit like that. And if you don't get confused with this picture, you are very good, because that's approximately what happens in the brain when there is a lot of uncertainty, when we are not sure what the outcome could be. And I would like to share my own example. When I was in my sales job, I went for holidays. So I'm on holidays and I'm on a little cruise around Turkish coast. So I should be totally relaxed and should be enjoying the time with my friends. But I don't, because there is not much activity, I have a lot of time to think. And so I'm lying on the boat, sunbathing, and I just keep thinking, what shall I do with my job? Shall I stay? Shall I quit? But I can't quit because I signed a contract for 1 year, so I have to stay. And anyway, I wanted to learn sales. So if I quit, I will not be able to learn sales. And yeah, but if I stay, will I be good at it? Will I manage? Will I learn it? And so I keep creating these different scenarios of what could happen until I get totally crazy. And I decide to just find a phone number of a counselor in the Czech Republic, call her, make an appointment, so that after my holidays, I can start dealing with it. And basically what happened is that when I take this appointment, my brain calms down, because even though I don't have exact solution, there is still quite an uncertainty in front of me. I have this one certain thing, I have this one picture in front of me, which is when I come back from holidays, I will have this appointment. So I have a plan and it's under control. And so one way how to deal with uncertainty is to decide what you want to do, make a plan and take actions to get clarity further on the way. The third challenge are emotions. So as I mentioned, uncertainty creates a lot of emotions. And what happens is that emotions decrease the capacity to think clearly. You probably remember when you were angry at someone and you said things that you regretted after, or maybe before an important presentation, an important speech, you were so anxious and so afraid that you couldn't even remember what you wanted to say. And that's exactly what happens when the part of the brain which creates emotions get very active. It lowers the activity or the capacity of the other parts of brain which are responsible for processing information, memorizing, being creative, and so on. And the other challenge is that when things go wrong, when you feel in danger, you go into these instinctive reactions so that you can act very fast. The emotions also impact the way how you decide. So there are scientific researches that when you are angry, you take more risks. When you are happy, it's not that great either, because then you just believe, you don't really think about the content of what someone is telling you, but you just focus on the visual part of the person. So that's why it seems like taller people and more handsome people are more successful and are able to get better jobs. So what it means, practically, the best decisions and actions are when you feel calm. Okay, and the last thing, which is the challenge of the brain, is habits. So yeah, we know habits. The brain automates everything to save energy. So whatever you do is very automated unless you increase the energy of your brain. You focus more, you concentrate. And in the end, it can be like this hamster in the wheel. We are so much into our habits and the usual way of doing things that we don't even notice that we are running in the vicious circle, and the only way how to get out is just to stop and think how to do things differently. So that's the 4 challenges of the brain. Now I will stop sharing because I would like to get a poll out of Zoom and ask you, what is your own challenge? Where do you see your biggest challenge? Is it complexity that makes you nervous? Is it uncertainty? Is it emotions which are getting you? Or is it habits? So I'll just stop sharing and get out the poll. And so you can just vote if it's, oh, and you can vote multiple choice normally, multiple choices. So emotions, uncertainty, complexity, habits, all of these. I see a lot of emotions. I'm so happy we are emotional. That's good. Yes, some habits, uncertainty, complexity. Good, we are doing well on complexity. Good. Okay. Good, good. So now uncertainty, emotions are a bit the same. Oh, but you don't see it. I didn't realize. Okay, so now you see the results. Yeah, so you see uncertainty, emotions are the top ones. Habits, complexity. Would anyone like to share what specifically about uncertainty or emotions is difficult? Or put it in the chat. And if you don't want to share, we can continue. Okay. Okay. So just continue sharing the screen. And now let's go to the problems. So we are slowly getting to the problem solving and what bothers you, what worries you. So I just get a chat. There is a chat in chat, for instance, now with COVID, uncertainty about the future and how I should shape my business. Okay, yeah, absolutely. Okay. So now let's look at the problems, yeah, because not every problem is the same. And I structure them in 3 parts, 3 different areas of problems. And every area, in my point of view, needs a bit different attention. So first part is accidents. So what I mean about accidents, it's something that happens in the spot. You are in the conflict or things go wrong. And there is a lot of emotions that are going, that are being created inside of you. So for me, in these areas, it's really the emotional management that is important. The second part of problems are regular problems. What I mean with regular problems, these are kind of a bit repetitive issues. Like if you are having conflicts with the same person over and over, or you have a difficult relationship with your colleagues, with your boss, or you are, for example, overwhelmed in terms of tasks you need to accomplish. So you keep being solicited by people and then you don't have time for your own projects. So these are the regular problems. And the last one is, for me, complex challenges. And as you see, the car is just in front of the sea. And the image is that the challenge is so complex that you don't know how to do it. It's too difficult. There is a lot of uncertainty. And the example can be, you have been driving in this car you have been doing certain type of job. For example, in my case, I have been in the corporate job, and then I go and launch myself in the startup. So I'm in front of that sea, and whatever I knew from the corporate job is not working that well. I really need to learn to swim better, or I need to find different ways how to cross the sea, different vehicles. And so in these complex challenges, what I find is there is a lot of uncertainty, because you don't know, you're not sure if you can make it. There are a lot of unknowns. It's complex. Your usual habits are not so efficient anymore. You need to learn doing things differently. And because of all of this, emotions can kind of go a bit high. So that's one thing. And another thing is that when you look at the regular problems, and when you try to solve your regular problems, when you look at them a bit deeper, you realize that if you want to solve your regular problems, you really need to do things differently. You need to structure yourself differently. You cannot just become, for example, more productive when you have too many things to do, too many things on your plate. If you become more productive and do it faster, it might not help you. You might need to address it in a different way. So do you have any questions about these types of problems? So I would like to ask you, I have another poll, but I don't know how to, oh yeah, here, okay. So I have another poll for you. What problems bother you the most? Is it the accidents, so on the spot triggers, conflicts, or is it like these little regular problems, complex challenges, or all of these? And I didn't launch the poll, so now you can vote. Okay. So I see regular problems, complex challenges, regular problems, complex challenges, accidents as well. So I have the advantage that I see. Okay, I think we are okay. I can just share the results. And the winner is regular problems. And then complex challenges. Okay, good. Good. So we know where the focus will be. Good. So now I will continue sharing my screen. Oh yeah, I'm here. And now let's go for your problems. And so think about a problem you are facing. It can be a regular problem. It can be a complex challenge. And oh, I don't see you. So I don't see if you're thinking, if you need more time. But the question I want to ask you, how long have you been thinking about it? And if you can, please write in the chat, how long have you been thinking about this problem? For days or months or years? For how long have you been thinking about this problem? For months, several weeks? 10 years? Wow, big problem. For months? Several weeks, several years? 1 year? 1 year? Okay, cool. Okay. And several years, yes, okay. And so how much time did you take to solve it? Think about it. How much time did you take to solve it? Is it again months, weeks, years? Compared to for how long have you been thinking about it? Several years, yes. And it's really, how much time did you take to solve it? Really took time to think about it, took some actions, still thinking, not yet solved, yes. Yeah. Several months, yes, yeah. After COVID lockdown, yes. Good. So some people are decided. Excellent. It came in waves, sometime a lot of time, sometime none. I didn't take any actions yet. Okay, good. Okay, so let's go for it. And I would like to guide you on working on it. Great. Unresolved. Keep thinking and trying different routes. Still thinking. Okay, so let's look at it from the realizer process, and in the same way I will explain you what the process is about. And in a summary, this process helps me to get around the constraints I have, which is fear of uncertainty, sometimes not able to deal with complexity, emotions, and my habits. So that helps me to look at the problem, find solutions, and focus on the right behaviors and adapt the behaviors so that I achieve better results. And the first step is simply to regroup. So you have your problem. So I'll just ask you, write it down. Write it down, what's your problem? Write it on a piece of paper. And why regroup? So regroup is to fight against the automatic reactions which we have. So when your usual way is to overthink, when you just say, stop, what am I doing? I'm overthinking it again. I'll sit down and I'll work on it. The other example could be, I tend to, when I have something important, I tend to just put my nose in it and I work, even though I have no ideas. I just work and I sit in front of my computer. And when I realize that, I need to regroup and just say, well, what are you doing again? And go for a walk to change my mind, get more creative. So that's the first step, regroup. Second step is to explore. And here you explore your emotions, your thoughts, your feelings, your internal conflicts. And basic question is, what's going on inside of you? And the goal is to decrease the emotional charge inside of you so that you can help your brain to be as effective as possible. So in this exercise, I will ask you, I'll go back, but one simple way how you can explore your problems is by free writing. Free writing is a very simple thing. You just sit down, you write for 5 minutes on a piece of paper as quickly as possible so that you get everything out from your brain, and you write how you feel about it, how you're angry maybe, what you have tried, what you're thinking, whatever goes through your mind, you just put it on a piece of paper. The goal is not to find solutions. The goal is just to decrease the emotional charge. So I will not ask you to do free writing, but what I'll ask you to think about the problem and write down all the emotions related to that. If you, for example, you're angry, but maybe you're not only angry, you're also disappointed, or maybe you're tired, or maybe you're thinking, well, I will never make it. So write down everything, your feelings, your thoughts, write it down, put it on the piece of paper. I will give you half a minute, 1 minute to do it. I would like to invite you as well, if you're having any questions, if something is not clear, you can just unmute yourself and ask the question, or you can just ask it in the chat, because I see the chat here on my phone. Okay. So now, maybe you're not finished. Maybe you would need more time, but let's move forward. And the next step now, when you have reduced the emotional charge, just look at the future and just ask yourself, how do you want to feel, and what do you truly want to see in the future? What is the vision? Yeah, how do you want to feel? What do you want to see? What's important for you to see at the end? Okay. So the next step, you're clear on where you are heading or where you would like to head. And now, a plan always works. So layout means lay out a plan. What are the main steps that will get you there? And the goal is again to reduce complexity and prioritize. Find the first step with which you can start.
Już proszę do pokoju.
Okay. Every time I do this step, I'm thinking, oh, it's way more complex than I thought. So I'm curious what will be your experience. And now when you have your plan, when you have your first step, we we have a lot of assumptions, especially if there is a certain uncertainty. So if there is uncertainty, we don't have all the information, we don't know. And so the question is here, what kind of information do you need? What kind of facts do you need to get so that you feel more certain? Maybe you need to go and talk to someone. Maybe you just need to validate assumptions by taking a special step. So think about what information do you need. And I'll give you time. You can look at it either from like look at the first step and see what information you need, or just when you look at your plan, what kind of information you need throughout the whole journey. Okay, so let's go to the next step. The second step is skill. So soft skill, hard skill, behaviors. What skills or behaviors will get you there? What do you need to do so that it works? And here we are aligning thoughts, feelings, and the behaviors. Because when you go and take your action, you need to be clear what behaviors will support you, so that you don't go into a usual habitual way of doing things. Maybe you need to be calmer or have more fun. So what kind of behavior will get you there? And when I was doing this process with one business owner who had a problem with his team leader, and so the business owner Benjamin was very upset about his team leader. And when we went through the process, the skill or the behavior Benjamin had to demonstrate was better listening skills, communication skills, and more empathy towards his team leader. So what I like about it is that you identify your blind spots. Or maybe you know already, but often in my case, I identified my blind spots where I behave in a way that is not effective. And so the next step is experiment, which means just applying this new skill or behavior in many different situations. Because Benjamin, in the case of Benjamin, he obviously wanted to talk to his team leader in a way that was more calm and in a way that he was listening more, but he was not ready to do it immediately. So he decided to experiment on his kids, and that's that's the way where you can build experience of doing things differently in an environment which is safe. There is no risk. So the question I would like to ask you now is, where else can you apply this behavior and practice doing it, so that when it gets to the point you are under heat, you are more comfortable demonstrating this behavior? Okay, I hope you have it. And the last step is review. Once you experiment, once you take first actions, once you practice the new behavior, what have you learned? And maybe you need to anchor what you have experienced. You need to build on your successes, or you need to adapt and then go to the next step. So this is something you can do on your own when you go and take action. Yeah, when I'm saying it, I'm already thinking, well, what if you don't take action, right? How can you support yourself to take action? And basically, in my experience, if you make it very simple and very clear what action you need to take, there is a high chance that you will take it. But there might be cases when taking action is still difficult. Like when I was doing cold calls for the companies, I had a lot of anxiety, and so it was difficult to call. And when it happened, I had to go back to the part of exploration and use some other techniques to decrease the anxiety, but also go to the ambition part. What do I really want by calling these companies, and reduce the ambition. So instead of getting an appointment, my ambition was just to find out if what I offer is interesting. So that's one way. And on top of that, what worked really well, and I think you can relate to that, and it's the mindset and getting in the right energy. So before one call, I was talking to a friend of mine over phone, and I got in such a great energy, and then I was so pumped up. Then I called a company for cold calling, and I got an appointment because I was so in such a good energy that it worked. And yeah, so this I wanted to share with you. This is the overview of the process, and basically the point is to not to be doing the vicious circle, but to keep moving by little circles. Like when you go step by step, you adapt, you gain more experience, and you get more information as you move forward. So the uncertainty goes down, you see clearly, and yeah, it's easier to take actions. And now I would like to I will stop. How was it for you? Did you have any insights that you would like to share, either in chat, or you can unmute yourself if you feel comfortable? were quite.
Well, it was quite good, Lenka. I just have one question that when you talk about planning phase, that is there any things that we follow by during planning? Because sometimes we have so many actions that are needed to be taken, and we end up procrastinating and we don't take actions, and then we don't move ahead in our path.
Yeah. So when I meant planning, I meant looking it as a timeline. So basically, think about different steps you can take, but kind of bigger steps. For example, I don't have any example, but just to, okay, I want to solve my problem with the relationship, for example. So first step would be think about what I want to say. Second step would be talk to the person and blah blah blah, understand her view. So it's more about having just simple steps without overloading yourself with too much details, and steps that are chronological. So you need to, that's why you need to sort them out, sort them, and find the first step, not to cut, not to go into shortcuts that often then takes longer. Is it something that answers, Shranj?
Yeah, it just gives an idea. So I will take some steps, and I hope it goes well, because I am in a phase of my life where I'm just planning my career and different parts of my life, where like either health or career and other things. So it's just to get sometimes too overwhelmed when you look about from a bird's eye view, that like from top you see that okay, there are so many things that in your life that you never cared about, and all needs to be taken care. So laying out a planning and small habits is a bit difficult, but
and it's good that you're speaking about it, because to avoid overwhelm, I think it's always good to be very clear on what are your big 3 priorities in life, or 3 big goals that you want to accomplish in half a year or 1 year, so that you have this a bit longer term clarity, what is important, what is not important, and it helps you to better decide. So I see in the chat some feedback. Thank you very much. Any other comments?
Lenka, I am sorry that I am behind my screen, but I was walking out. I just didn't manage to come back home. So that's why I stayed behind, but I have followed very actively.
Okay.
So one of the questions is, maybe I just missed something from the whole explanation. How do you apply this realizer across a problem that is an accident and a problem that is a regular problem? Where does the difference come, and what we should take into consideration? Because I believe, at least knowing myself, for me it will be much more relevant to start with an accidental problem and then probably see if I can move it to the recurrent problem. Simply because when there is a recurrent problem, it's very natural for the human mind. I just drop on autopilot, and sometimes I didn't even realize that this is a problem. So to sum up my question, what will be the difference in applying the approach to an accidental problem and to a recurrent problem or regular problem?
So with the accidents, the challenge is that you can't, because the emotions are so high, you cannot really think, and you go quickly into automatic reactions. But what you can do, you can take an accident, what happened, a conflict, and just run it through the process and see what you can do next time, so that you avoid going into the automatic reactions, if it makes sense to you.
I mean, this emotional element makes a lot of sense, because then this is going to be addressed properly, I believe, in this regrouping phase, which is then the exploration phase, because this journaling is actually a very good way to detach from the emotions. You just take out your subconscious mind and you take the patience that helps you to overcome the emotional brain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank
well,
you.
Yeah, thank you, Virginia. Any other questions, insights? Okay, I will send you an email, and would really love to hear from you, your feedback. But before we finish, I would like to share with you the program I'm going to start. So the program I'm going to do is called Be Unstoppable, where we will be working as a group. It will be a 6-month program, and yeah, the goal of the program is to work on your challenges. So have really a clarity on your 3 big priorities you want to accomplish, work through them, accomplish them, and at the same time learn the roadmap to achieving your goals, so that you can achieve your goals with ease and feel more confident in tackling your challenges. And as well, so that you are prepared to embrace new challenges. Because yeah, sometimes we just don't take the opportunities because we don't feel confident. And the content of the program will be around goal setting. So setting goals that have purpose. Part of it will be creating a structure that motivates you, that is aligned to how you like doing things, so that you can support yourself in taking actions. We will spend some time on emotional management as well, and go a bit deeper. Decision making, and also going further with the realizer model, but it will be very practical. And part of it will be 3 months of bi-weekly group calls, 2 hours twice a week, 3 months after monthly calls. You will get worksheets, so we will be able to work with them in the future, video tutorials, call recordings, and also 2 individual coaching sessions. Here we go. So that's the program. If you are interested, if it's something you would like to hear more, I would like to share a Calendly link, so you can schedule a session with me and we just see together if it's something that would be interesting for you, and if it fits, we can start. So I'm going to start in June, one in June and one in September. So yeah, I'm going to just share the link in the chat. Oh, I need to find it first. Okay, and that's more or less it from me. If you have any questions, if you want to discuss anything more, yeah, feel free to stay longer. Anyway, I would love to hear from you, so I will send you a form for some feedback. What you liked, what was challenging, where would you like to go deeper? maybe in some areas, so that I know for the future. So, any questions? Okay, if there are no, oh, okay. Thank you very much for this great tool from Rim. I'll work on it. Great, Rim. Thank you. Thank you, Kathy. Okay, great. Yes, Sandrine sent a message that she likes the systematic approach of the problems. Okay, the ambition part helped. Yeah, it helps me always. Yeah. Great. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for your feedback and for joining me. It was a pleasure to share this tool with you. And yeah, sometimes, some other time, we'll see each other again. And if you want, just keep using the tool, play with it, and let me know. Yeah, so take care.
Thanks, Lenka.
Thanks, Lemka.
Bye.
Very nice, interesting.
Thank you very much,
so
Lenka.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank
Goodbye.
you. Bye.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.